One. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and welcome to the podcast that has been quarantined. What up, Norman? I don't know which one it is, but you tuned into another episode of It's a Black and White Thing. I am one half of the dynamic duo. I'm A1. Please remember you can go to soundcloud.com/brains and bars to check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing. You can also check us out by going to iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Google Play Music. Search hashtag Brains and Bars to find every episode of It's a Black and White Thing. And yeah, that's how you can find us and check us out. So, like I said, I'm one half of the dynamic duo. Joining me is my homie, my ace, A-Ward. What's good, man?
What's good, bro? It is good to be back. And even though it's under these conditions, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be chopping it up with you. Looking forward to you saying something ridiculous and me shaking my head at it. And now, since we're on video, the people can actually see the expressions that I have when I have to listen to these takes and these just, yeah. Anyways, so I can't wait for people to be able to see this.
I mean, you know, I don't think I'm going to be the one supplying the outlandish takes here because we have a special guest in the building, and he is known.
That's true.
Yeah, he's known for supplying a couple of takes that I have you scratching your head. It is the Carmelo Anthony apologist, Mr. Tampa himself. Loso's in the building. What's good, man?
What's good, man? The first episode of Black, White, and Hispanic Thing podcast here in the flesh, man. I'm ready, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Also, I forgot because I'm rusty because I haven't done this in like 2 months. But you can also check us out on Twitter and Facebook by searching at Brains and Bars. Hit us up with any comments, questions, even concerns you might have about the show. We're open to listening and dialoguing on the treasure trove of topics. So also, even though we're not at the humble one's abode, I want to shout him out. Shout out to the homie B Harris. You can check him out by going to his YouTube page. It's Puss in Boots Gaming. The S's are 5s. He has a new video up today that he put up called "What the Antique Kind of Is This?" Horrors episode 2. So go check that out, man. He streams games. He plays games. He is a scary game god. So go check him out, man. Lay it down. Shout out to the homie B Harris, man. All right. So if you are first-time listeners to the show, welcome. We appreciate you checking us out. We normally start this podcast with what I have learned this week. And I'm going to be brief, man. This is what I've learned over the last 2 months because we have gone from being a country that had a bunch of normalcy to coronavirus quarantining. And I saw a tweet in the midst of this coronavirus that said we are fighting 2 battles. It is the coronavirus and stupidity. Every day I get on the internet and I see, read, watch someone doing something incredibly stupid. And I just go like, the end of the world is going to happen because of people's stupidity. Like we're all going to die because of people's stupidity. That's what it's going to come down to. So that's what I learned this week. I won't bore you with any tales. All I would say is this. I'm going to give you a 5-step plan when you go grocery shopping during an epidemic. 5-step plan. When you go grocery shopping, number 1, build a budget. Build a budget of what you want to buy, right? Map out your store so that you can get in and out as fast as possible. If you get stuck on what you want to buy, keep your cart out of the way so people who know what they want can get in and get out. I had to wait like 3 minutes while homie was deciding which kielbasa he wanted. Anyway, when you stand in line, keep your distance, yo. Keep your distance. People all up on my back. I'm like, I know we supposed to be social distancing 6 feet apart. All right?
That's number 3.
That's like 4. That's 4. I forget what the 5th one was. The 4th one was, driving the wrong way up the
struggle. That was literally like just 2, bro. Like,
no, I gave you 3. So one is budget. One is budget.
Yeah.
Map out the store. Okay, if you get stuck on what you want to buy,
move your cart.
Oh, the lines are long. That's the number 4. The lines are long. So when you park, you're going to be into the aisles. Keep your cart in the center of the aisle so people can get around you and get what they need. And number 5 is keep your distance. Bonus one, stop driving the wrong way up the parking lots, man. That really frustrates me. Like, I don't have a gun, but I want to get a gun and shoot people when I see them driving up the wrong way. Because you're hindering everything. It's a super pet peeve of mine. So that's what I learned this week. So,
check this out. I can solve all of those issues for you.
What's that?
Send your wife. Just send your wife.
I can't send my wife. So remember. So for those who don't know, my wife had to have a kidney transplant.
Never mind.
No, she had to have a kidney transplant. So she's immunodeficient. Is what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So I go to the store. I take that risk because I have 2 functioning kidneys. Now the thing that she does for me is she puts the list together so that I can walk through the store in that path. Like, you're gonna go here first, then boom, 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 boom. So she's helping your boy get in and out as fast as possible. That's her contribution. So that's what I learned this week.
Like when you're at the grocery store and you just pass like the milk or whatever, and you see it on the list and it says milk, and you're like, cool, bet, you grab it. And then the next one says Oreos, and you look, and Oreos is right there. You just like, inside you like, I love my wife. Like, this is so cold how she knows where everything is.
Know what everything is. And if I get stuck on something, she's one phone call away. She's like, yeah, go aisle 3. It's right there in the Mexican aisle between boom, boom. I'll bet it up. Cool. We out that thing.
Fire.
So she holds it down. You know, she's Bill Parcells talks about buying the groceries, right? She puts the list together. I go buy the groceries. So she's the GM. She's the president. I'm the GM.
Shout out to Bill Parcells. Much better quote than Kevin Gates's.
Wait, that's not Kevin Gates with that quote. That was Omarion, wasn't it? That's Omarion, right?
The Eating Groceries?
The Eating Groceries bar, I thought was Omarion was the originator of that. With Janae Aiko, Chris Brown.
Oh, see, I'm already losing. I thought it was a Kevin Gates thing.
Nah, I think that's Omarion.
No. Kevin Gates was just no groceries at all. It was just a line by itself.
Hilarious.
Anyways.
All right, man. So
this is a family show?
Me in that rant.
Yeah, it's a family show.
Hey, Ward, we normally go, what are you looking forward to? There's not a whole lot to be looking forward to, but you got anything?
Are you serious? I'm looking forward to the stupidity. Like you said, what you learned is that the world's going to end. Okay, will we even have a versus Instagram live challenges without the quarantine?
Nope.
I don't think so. Nah.
No.
I mean, look, the memes, everything we're getting from this entertainment-wise, like specifically stay-at-home quarantine. Oh, the stupidity is so beautiful. I love it. That's what I'm looking forward to this week. More stupid. I'm looking forward to the one draft picked on Thursday, where it's just a room full of 100 people or something like that. You just, or something like that. They get drafted and it pops up and they're just like partying and super like non-social distancing or something.
Bro, did you see
what's gonna happen?
Did you see the Teddy Riley and Babyface part 2 when they tried to get it together and it took them like 15, 20 minutes to get the pinned tweet up?
Yo, that is hilarious.
How many picks that happens in the NFL draft before you see like a college kid with a quarantine mask on when it films him when he's getting picked? He's like, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I just want to thank God. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a big day for me. Bro, I'm telling you. So they've already – we know what? I'll save it. We're going to get there. So I'm going to save that. All right, so looking forward to more craziness. Anything else?
Before we get going, I didn't, because like you said, it's been a minute. So I'm award.com. Hit me up on there. Follow me on all your social media. Loso, shout out all your social media or shout out your website or whatever. Let people know where to follow you.
You go ahead and follow me at loso.official, but just go to the website, everythingloso.com, and you literally can get everything. Music, merch. We have hoodies up for sale that have been selling crazy right now, man. Go ahead and copy.
Can you get a large hoodie?
You can't get a large hoodie. You can't.
Well, so you can't get everything low. So all right.
You can't get a hoodie though. You can't get a hoodie.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to get a Loso t-shirt.
That is available. A1, just let me send me a label and I'll send it to you.
Thank you again for being on the show, bro.
Thank you.
All right, so y'all can hit us up what you learned during this pandemic, what you've learned this week. Hit us up at Brains and Bars on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you learned. All right, man, let's go ahead and jump into it. So you guys are battle rappers, right? This is what you are known widely to the public as being, and this pandemic has been not good for you guys. You guys had a bunch of battles lined up that you were scheduled to do, had your schedule. Y'all had a tour. And this COVID-19 has wiped out a lot of stuff, man. So how are you guys staying busy through this and trying to be productive and still keep your names out there with all this stuff going on?
Basically, go ahead, Loso.
Yeah. So obviously there's things online that we could all do. So we've been doing online battles. A Ward and I, just did a 2-on-2 with K-Shine and DNA. For Easter, I put out a spoken word that did really well. And we got some other stuff going on. We're trying to put out some music. We've been selling merch. So really just, Instagram live interviews. I think this has been a good time for like the masses to kind of just get to know us, apart from battle rap, and kind of just really get to know our personality. That's probably been one of the biggest things that I've been really taken away from this situation. I've done literally like 5 or 6 Instagram live interviews, and as you know, it hasn't been on like huge platforms, but it has been in like these like small little pockets that I think later on, obviously, I can capitalize off of. But all in all, I'm literally with my wife 24/7 now. Where obviously before, me and Ward, we were literally scheduled for a tour that was gonna keep us out for maybe 8 consecutive weekends. I think 8 or 9 consecutive weekends. So, and that's not including battle rap gigs that we had. So for this specific season, man, God slowing everything down, me being with my wife 24/7, I've gotten extremely good at Scrabble and categories. And so, if nothing else works out from there, I definitely will be joining some tournaments in those aspects. But yeah, it's been good, man.
That's what's up, Ward.
Yo, A1, have you ever played categories before?
Never.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I had to introduce you to categories, man. Just to kind of piggyback off what Loso said. I was talking to the Saga earlier, who's another battle rapper that's a part of our Horseman group, and I was telling him, man, like it took the quarantine for me to realize how trash of an artist I am. Because just like that. If I'm not doing shows, like I'm not making any money as an artist, And on the contrary, there's opposite. There's artists that, like let's say like a Lil Dicky or something like that, for instance, like he was like an artist that I would assume that I've never really seen him going out and doing shows, but he probably makes a lot of money just sitting behind his laptop, creating videos, creating content, getting streams, like I'm kind of the opposite. The only way I make money as an artist is to go out and do shows, do events, spoken word gigs, battles, and stuff like that. So all I did was put in perspective, like, yo, if something was to happen and I wasn't able to travel, let's say I lost my job and had to get a new job, and then the hours are different, like how is it that I'm going to, continue to do this? And so it's kind of motivated me to do some other things, I think what Loso said was right. People are going to get to see our personalities, trying to film videos, trying to do different things. I know Loso's been TikToking away, and doing different videos on TikTok and stuff. And like people are seeing Loso in, different light, more humorous, just kind of casual, whatever. Yeah. So it's had pros and cons. Of course, we would love to do our tour. We would love to, keep doing that. But it also puts us some things in perspective in like what Loso said, me being able to be at home with my wife, spend more time, spend weekends, kind of just, put our focus and our priorities elsewhere. So.
That's what's up. Cool. Yeah, man. Like, first of all, let me shout out the other members of the Horsemen while we are speaking of them. Shout out to the homie Street. Street just had a feature verse that is crazy. On a record with Dre South. I don't know if it just dropped today. I just saw Street's verse today called Out of Stock. That's on YouTube. You can check that out. Saga and New Jersey Twerk just dropped. Was it Bad versus Evil? Good versus Evil? Right, little mini movie on Charlie Clips TV. So that just dropped like about 2 hours ago. And that mug is fire. Like shout out to Twerk, shout out to Saga. Really dope. Also, you two, the hottest 2-on-2 group in the game right now, much talked about. You guys have a fire 2-on-2 on a league that shall not be named versus Geechee Gotti and B Dot, very fire 2-on-2. And then on Charlie Clips TV, also you guys also have a battle with the legendary NWX, the widely considered the GOATs of 2-on-2 battling of this era, at least, depending on how you want to break that down or what your sensibilities are. So shout out to all you guys staying busy, doing music, doing your quarantine thing. Yeah, man, I encourage y'all, man, go check it out. Like I said, that the Bad versus Evil joint is fire. Y'all 2-on-2 is fire. Street had one of the most creative quarantine battles to drop versus Sharon. So you guys are staying busy. Salute to y'all, man. But that's the bar side. Let's get into this brain side. Let's get into these sports. So let's start with the Last Dance. First 2 episodes dropped that's this past Sunday. And then for the next 4 Sundays, we're going to get 2 more episodes a week. First of all, shout out to ESPN for doing it that way. I think in this era of binge watching and dropping everything at once, I like the fact that they're giving us something to look forward to. You don't have all the episodes available to you. So I think that was a wise decision on their part. And it's going to be a ratings blockbuster every week, especially during this time. But with that said, man, what are your initial thoughts on the first 2 episodes and what you saw?
I loved it, man. I'm a guy. Obviously, Jordan was playing when I was young, but I was not watching the NBA at the time. And so I was kind of, around the Kobe Shaq era. But I always asked myself, I always had the question, man, like, how do you win 3 championships and then that's it? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I knew what happened with Kobe and Shaq, but I always asked that question, what happened with the Bulls? And it seems like we're obviously getting that answer now with decisions that were made after that. But I love it. I love the fact that, we're getting to see Jordan. And not just, I don't know, I know a lot of people feel like it's still trying to protect his legacy, but just statements like, that Jordan's saying, when you speak of me, make sure you mention Scottie Pippen. Like right there lets him know, like, oh, he's human. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't do everything by himself, no matter how much we like to, tell that to ourselves. But I'm loving the episodes, man. I thought the first 2 episodes were done very well. I love how they're not just even going chronological order, like throughout the information. Like they're jumping back and forth, right? Like you see the little timeline, like they're 1987, then they're 1996. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going back and forth. And at first it was a little like weird how they were doing it, but it was interesting though. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you hanging on. Okay, cool. That's what happened with Scottie at the end. Then they're like flash forward, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is how. So I'm loving how they're doing it, man. I love what you just said too. They're giving you 2 episodes every week, and the ratings are up, bro. So I'm excited, bro. I'm excited what's to come for it.
All right, Ward, what about you?
So forgive me. I only watched the 2nd episode. I missed the 1st episode. I was busy playing NBA 2K. Shout out to my player that I just created. He was Rookie of the Month this year. So this month. So shout out to him. And shout out to Loso for holding me accountable. He basically like texted me and said, "Why are you not watching? The Last Dance or whatever?" And it kind of convicted me. So I did catch episode 2. I think people need to understand that I'm not a Scottie Pippen fan, right?
Well, so okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
I've never been a Scottie Pippen fan, right? I tweeted something out that was pure sarcasm. It was outlandish, right? So it had no validity to what I tweeted. But you know how they say, like, every joke, there's like a little bit of a truth to it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about Scottie Pippen, right? I feel like Carmelo Anthony's a better basketball player than Scottie Pippen.
Facts.
I think I'd agree to that. And
it's hard for me to put Carmelo Anthony in top 50 players of all time.
Wow.
So I think for that time, I think you got to put Scottie in the top 50. I think if you do that, like
Is he like 40 to 50?
Yeah, I think in this age, he's probably 40 to 50 if he's on the list, right? Because I'm not trying to run down, the 50 greatest players. Now we're talking about generations, but I think if you come back in like even 20 more years, right, and you have like the good thing for Scotty is I think that anniversary was on the 50th anniversary of the league.
The rings. That's the good thing for Scotty. The rings.
Well, not only that, but I think that in 75, when they get 25, when they get to the 75th anniversary, like Scotty's always going to be there, but he'll always be on the back end of that. What Scotty provided to the Bulls was invaluable. I think you see that when they talk about Scotty being out the first like couple of months of that last season. And you see Steve Kerr say Scotty was the glue. Like I look at Scotty kind of like an evolutionary Draymond Green. Because Draymond Green I don't think he'll ever be the scorer that Scotty was. I don't think he'll ever be kind of like the point man that Scotty was. But I mean, in terms of versatile defender, incredibly smart on the defensive end, but also kind of that Swiss Army knife that could do whatever they needed him to do in that moment. If you needed Scotty to initiate offense, he could do that. He could get his own shot somewhat. He wasn't the greatest at it, but he could get his own shot. He could work from the post and pass from the post. So, I mean, his game was when MJ says, like, Scotty was the perfect running partner for him, he was, because he's taking on – now, granted, MJ, great defensive player, multiple time first-team All-NBA, but I probably would take Scotty as the better defender because he could guard multiple positions. Like I watched Game 7 of the 98 Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers, and I mean, he's guarding Mark Jackson. He's chasing around Chris Mullin. If a defensive switch happens, right, he's chasing Reggie Miller. He's hanging with Chris Mullin. So he's jumping around these different players where they were, I don't want to say hiding Jordan on Chris Mullin, but they didn't want him to expend the energy to chase Reggie. And they wanted the length of Scotty to really bother Mark as they try to initiate offense. So, yeah, man, he's going to be on the back end of those great players, but he's a great player. And when you tweeted that at first, boy, I was about to get
I'm not sure if people knew that like Scott Van Pelt's ESPN came on right after and they were going. So did you understand the correlation with my tweet?
Yeah. I did.
Oh, were you talking about the 122nd? You talking about his salary?
The salary. So that's the only reason why obviously I mentioned Andre Roberson is because, like right afterwards, ESPN comes on, they're talking about Scotty. Like, he literally signed like a rookie contract. It was like 7 years, right? Wasn't it like?
So here's the context of that. So the deal was actually 5 years, $18 million. But because he negotiated it while he was still under contract, basically they just tacked the extra 2 years on it. And I read an article that talked about he signed it during their second run or their second championship, right? So, because of salary cap reasons and the way they set it up, they basically front loaded the contract. So like they started giving him new money within that current rookie deal. So he got new bread right up front, right away. And so it ended up being kind of like an 8-year, $15 million deal. But if you look at what the top players were being paid, like Scotty probably would have got somewhere. I mean, the most he would have gotten is maybe 25 to 28 million. Like I couldn't see him making 30 and getting $6 million a year because like the top salary at that time was only $3 million. So, and I think like there was a player like Patrick Ewing or somebody was like up there like 7. So you had one guy who was making 7 and everyone else was kind of like in that 3 range. So I could have seen Scotty falling somewhere between 5.5 million per year versus that 5 years, 18.
I also thought it was interesting just seeing like Bill Winnington and like Klein and, just Paxson and some of these guys. And you're looking at these guys and you're just like, yo, this looks like the most unathletic basketball team ever to be put on the court, It's just kind of like, but it is good. I mean, I like your comparison to Draymond Green. Scotty and Draymond have a lot in common. They both only have rings because they played with one of the greatest players ever, and they both have ties to Steve Kerr. So, I think it's solid.
So let me ask y'all this. Do y'all blame – so knowing Scotty's situation, right? One of 12 kids, father paralyzed, brother paralyzed, living in Arkansas, coming from poverty. Do you blame him for taking the deal when he did it, or would
No,
you
I
have,
don't.
would you have held out?
Nah, no. I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and assess a situation like this. Scotty obviously didn't have people around him who knew what they were talking about. It's just no way they could have been, yo, Scotty. If you hold out, you would have had like they would. It's just no way he would have saw the numbers of what could have been and said nah. Like I think this what was presented to him. He took the money because of his situation, which I totally understand. But then at the same time, I know everybody on Twitter was like, "Yo, how could the organization do this? How come Jordan didn't say anything? All this other stuff." And I'm like, "Yo, at the end of the day, Pippen is a grown man. He's in the NBA. He made that decision. He's responsible for it. And so, I really didn't fault anybody. I just kind of looked at it like, Pippen did what he thought was the best decision at the time."
And I'm not sure how much is attributed to, like, I mean, he went to Central Arkansas, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that he's not being coached by, Roy Williams or Dean Smith. He's not being, and I don't know that there's that much, tutelage, or nobody brought him under his wing and said, hey, here's what's going to happen next. You're an NBA type player. You're going to go to the NBA. This is what's going to approach you. This is the stuff you're going to have to think about, So, I mean, there might have been some advantages to maybe playing on a bigger school, or kind of being more, ready for those kind of conversations. But why are you mad at the Bulls? I mean, the Bulls, like, isn't that you're supposed to do as a business and an organization is literally, like, how many agents are screwing teams out of money? So they're probably getting, why not? Yeah, heck yeah.
Bro, listen, if y'all are negotiating a deal with John and Organic, and they like, yo, let's talk money, and y'all say, well, we'll take 500. Like, Organic and them are not gonna be like, are you sure? Would you like more money, sir? They're gonna be like,
because we're paying such and such.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think so. The thing I will say though, to that point though, A Ward, is that, like, the owner said it was a bad deal. His agent told him it was a bad deal. He still chose to sign it. And I think Scotty was not thinking what he was looking for.
Either Scotty had a girl that knew something about him, or he owed somebody some money or something.
Oh, he's taking care of 13 people.
Yeah.
Like, he's not thinking, long term. He's thinking in the short term, I need this bread. I got 12, 13 people, two handicapped people in Arkansas that I'm trying to take care of. And so I think here's the thing though. I don't want to ever see these people on Twitter saying, dang, man, it's messed up what happened to Scotty. Then turn around and be like, he signed for how much? That's why they signed for all. That's why they're trying to get everything they can, because the organizations, at the end of the day, it's a business to them. And for Scotty, obviously it became super personal. He started wilding out and tripping and going real hard on Jerry Krause, which I want to turn the lens on him. So I'll present my kind of feelings on Jerry Krause, and y'all can chime in. I feel like Jerry Krause is getting a bad rap. Jerry Krause has passed. He's not here to defend himself. And since Michael Jordan was not a fan of him, he's taken the opportunity to let the ratchet sing on his name and just talk bad about him. Jerry Krause found Phil Jackson. He wasn't around for Mike. He wasn't there to draft Mike, but he made the trade for Scotty. He got Horace Grant. He brought in Dennis Rodman. He got Steve Kerr. Like, he put the team together. And I understand that suits don't, I think Michael said in his Hall of Fame speech, the suits aren't the one playing in the flu game, right?
The organization.
Sacrificing on the floor. But he put the squad together. Phil Jackson was nobody, and it was at his suggestion that brought him here. So I feel like Jerry Krause, maybe not a people person, which is, that has its pros and its cons, but I feel like if Jerry Krause were alive and running the Warriors, right, or if this Bulls dynasty was happening now, he could be a superstar. Because look at what we've done with the Warriors, with their owner and their GM. They're the star. Danny Ainge is a star, right? Like, all these guys are highly regarded, and and put on these pedestals for the moves they make. So like I said, Jerry Krause, maybe not a people person, but I feel like he's getting a little bit of a bad rap from Mike, whose insane will to win is both to his is both a positive and a negative. I guess I'll put it that way. So what y'all think about Jerry Krause?
Until last night, I really didn't think anything of him, right? Like, oh, not last night. I'm sorry. Until the airing of The Last Dance, I didn't think anything of Jerry Krause. But I hear what you're saying, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to think about what you said. Those are really good points, right? Like, I mean, he did put together, and he's responsible for both of those three-peats, correct?
Both of those three-peats.
I got you. So he did I mean, I do, don't get me wrong. I side with the players. I side with Jordan on the statement, organizations don't win championships, right? Like, I've even heard Urban Meyer say, like, the greatest coaches in the world know it's about personnel. You know what I'm saying? It's like the people that you put on the field, the people that you put on the court. So I do agree that the organizations did make the moves, but yeah, Jordan did have to go out there and be Jordan. You know what I'm saying? He had to be Jordan. But the way that the documentary is shaping, granted, there is a villain. There's a clear-cut evil guy in this movie, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I mean, I wouldn't need to watch the whole thing, but there needs to be some sort of justification as to why he was looking to go ahead and split up the Bulls after the second three-peat. Maybe he probably knew, like, we're barely even making it to I mean, I don't even know how that's the reason. Like, hey, you won the championship. But, I mean, towards the end of this documentary, I think I would be able to go ahead and give a better opinion on Jerry Krause. But just from what I'm seeing, like, that seems to be the biggest thing. Like, everybody on Twitter was like, how stupid could you be to want to go ahead and break up this dynasty, yada, yada, yada. But with that being said, bro, I mean, you see that with a bunch of documentaries where it's like, and I mean, just one that I'm thinking of, right? Like, NWA made Jerry Heller out to be an evil guy, right? But on the flip side, like, hey, if we hear it from his perspective, Jerry Heller may be like, do you know how much money I fronted up? Do you know how much yada, yada, yada? Like, we don't know at the end of the day. So I hear what you're saying. I do give him kudos to that. But on the flip side, bro, I honestly, man, like, he just there needs to be some sort of justification as to why he wanted to go ahead and break up that dynasty towards the end.
I got a rebuttal for you, but we'll get the war first.
Yeah.
No, the whole organizations don't win championships. I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I think that, if the best players of all time won championships, then Dan Marino would have a Super Bowl ring. So I think that, organizations have something to do with winning championships. I think that even Michael Jordan said whenever he traded Charles Oakley, for Bill Cartwright or whatever, it's probably not something Michael Jordan would have came to the front office and said, hey, get rid of Charles Oakley, and get me Bill Cartwright. That's what I need to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael Jordan did say, like, he understood at the trade time what Krause was doing. Like, he was like, oh, I see what you're doing, even though Oakley's my guy. You know what I mean? So I think that it's hand in hand, and it kind of parallels with, battle rap, where people always say, is it the leagues or is it the battlers? Who puts on these crazy events, like Gnome or whatever? Is it made because it's URL, or is it made because it's Sue Surf versus Rum Diddy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that those
Loso and John. Loso and John. Like, who was more important for bullpen?
Well, we know.
I mean, it's a chicken or the egg thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Uh-oh, did we lose Ward? You still there?
I'm here. I don't know about Ward.
Yeah, he froze. I'm gonna give him a second. So I'm gonna throw a rebuttal to you right quick and see.
Please. All
right. So you said a lot of people, including yourself, were wondering why they were trying to blow this up, right?
Yeah, because they haven't answered that question yet, right? They threw it out there, and we're going to see exactly what transpired.
So I am curious to see when they get to the end. So I went back and watched that Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Jazz. Or not the Jazz, I'm sorry, the Pacers. Yeah, we did lose him. I'm gonna see him get him back here in a second. And like you see a team that is broken down, that's old. So like I'm going to list for you the most important Bulls in that game, right? Number one, the most important Bull in that game was Tony Kukoc. Without Tony Kukoc, they more than likely don't win that game. Tony Kukoc in the third quarter goes off for 14 points. He goes 5 for 5 from the field. I think he had a couple of free throws in there too. He also made that helped them. They had the lead at half, but they helped them extend the lead. And when the Pacers in the fourth quarter, when they cut into that lead, without his contributions, they don't get it. I think Scotty comes next because of what he did defensively on Mark Jackson. He made it very hard for them to get into the offense. Then I go Michael Jordan, who did not play well in that game.
Yeah.
Offensively, just wasn't good. And really, at the end of the game, he just drew a lot of fouls and was able to get to the free throw line. Like, he wasn't that Jordan that we think of, down the line is clutch shot making, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
He wasn't that guy. That team was old. These guys were 11th year, 12th year in the league. Jordan was 34 and was looking his age, right? Like, all these years in a row of making these runs, like, it wears down on you. And I think people assume that the Bulls would have won again in 99, and I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. Jordan was 35.
Say it again?
Jordan was 35, correct?
I thought it was 34, but either 34 or 35.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, like, even though the 99 season is short because of it gets cut short because of the lockout, that might have been a little bit of a saving grace for the Bulls. But, like, you're talking about in 99, I think that's the Spurs championship. So you're talking about young Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Avery John. Like, I don't think the Bulls are going to be able – and they couldn't stop Rick Smits, bro.
Yeah.
They were struggling with Rick Smits. What are you going to do now when you got the Twin Towers, a young, like I said, a third-year player in Duncan and a vet like David Robinson to contend with on the block? Like, I just don't know if they were going to do it. So I think the time it was – he might have cut it a year too early, but I would rather you be a year early than a year late.
But my only thing, and I feel that, Carlos, but in what mindset do you have to be in to not want to hit triangle and say, yo, let's just run this back? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, even, like, think about it, bro. Like, even when the Warriors lost to the Cavaliers, right, in Game 7.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the whole time, right, before Kevin Durant was a possibility, I'm thinking, yo, run it back. You guys were a couple seconds away from repeating, and you didn't have Bogut, and Draymond got suspended. You know what I'm saying? Like my thing is, like, there was so many, like, you were literally a couple seconds away. You don't even have to think about blowing up the team for any other reason, right? But So if the Bulls winning the championship, I mean, granted, I don't know what the Spurs were looking like the year before. I don't know if everybody just assumed, like, yo, they're coming. They're on the rise right now. I don't know, what the Eastern Conference was looking like as well. But my only thing is, like, yo, it still doesn't make sense. Like, even when we say, like, Jordan was looking old, I'm pretty sure he won the MVP that year at 35. He won the Finals MVP, right? He won an NBA championship. I'm pretty sure he was. I mean, if we go down those accolades that year at 35, that's why everybody's saying. I mean, me and you even spoke about this. We were like, "Yo, everybody's going crazy about what LeBron's doing at age 35." But we seen a 35-year-old do this. Now, we didn't see a 35-year-old in year 17 do this, but we did see a 35-year-old man exceed these expectations. You know what I'm saying? And so. I feel you. If Jerry Krause is taking into consideration legacy, if he's saying, yo, you know what, to protect this brand, I'm going to go ahead and cut it short. Well, again, I'm not one of those people who think that 6 for 6 is better than 6 for 7. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? I think Jordan gets to another finals. That's okay. Jordan gets to another finals. And if he loses to the Twin Towers, he loses to the Twin Towers. But, that's just me, though.
Nah, bro. A huge part of Jordan's legacy is the fact that he has never lost a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if he does go 6 for 7, it doesn't tarnish his legacy. as much as we like, because it's still a winning record. But it definitely becomes something. It becomes a talking point for those who would say he's not. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pause and get see if we get Ward back.
Gotcha.
All right, so let it up. We got Ward back. So I mean that's it for the documentary. Like we just said, like Loso, you said Jerry Krause is a villain. Next week you're going to see someone that Michael really views as a villain, and Isaiah Thomas. The director of the documentary, he even says, like, is there somebody who's going to be mad about how they're portrayed in this documentary? And so he answered the question by saying, well, if they're mad, it's because they're being portrayed as for who they really are. And so the interviewer said, come on, answer the question. He goes, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is going to be mad about how he's portrayed in the documentary. So I can't wait to watch the Bad Boy Pistons joint. All right, so y'all hit us up. Let us know what y'all think at Brands and Bars on Facebook and Twitter about the Last Dance documentary. Your takes on Scotty's contract, Jerry Krause. If you were not familiar with MJ, just about what you think about Michael Jordan in particular. I went back and watched Come Fly With Me. I got that for Christmas as a 7-year-old, 1989. Come Fly With Me. And like Michael Jordan, the brilliance of Michael Jordan is that he was able to cultivate a cult of personality around his persona that is like dictators wish they had such positive press. Come Fly With Me is an impressive piece of pop propaganda, bro. Everyone speaks of him glowingly. There's not a single negative thing said about him. Like you would think, like Larry Bird makes the statement that after the 63-point game that he saw God disguised as Michael Jordan. Like you would think, like there might be a chance he could be Diddy after you watch Come Fly With Me the way they talk to him. So yeah, man, let us know what y'all think, man. All right, so let's jump into the NFL. Breaking news today. Rob Gronkowski, which I found it to be interesting. Just yesterday, I saw an interview with him saying, I might not be done with football. Like there's a chance I could come back. And then this afternoon, news hits. He's requested a trade. 15 minutes later, trade done. He is officially a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He's joining his homeboy, Tom Brady, in Tampa as they try to, I guess, relive like it's what, 1999? Is that when they won the title? 1998, 99?
No, Tampa Bay?
Yeah. Oh, that's 2002.
Oh, yeah, they were
2002. My fault. 2002. So they try to relive the old glories. And so Loso, Tampa's own, man. Like, how do you feel right now? You get one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and one of the best tight ends of this era on your squad.
Yeah, I am. So obviously, I bleed purple.
You're a Vikings fan. You're a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
But you root for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I do. Right? Yeah, and A. Ward put me on this concept, which is okay to do. He says that you can be a fan of one team and be a supporter of another. He said there is a difference.
Facts.
So before meeting him, I didn't know that. But now I use it in my defense of rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm a supporter of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I've always been, even before knowing that term, because it does well for the city. It sucks that Tampa, Florida was a hockey city for so many years. I mean, it's just lightning. You know what I'm saying? Even how the Lightning games are just like portrayed throughout the downtown city. However, now that Brady and Gronk, and we're not seeing it yet, obviously, because we're all in our houses, but now that Brady is here, and just the talk around town is just like, yo, this may be like something special may happen. And the Super Bowl's coming to Tampa. If everything goes to, if everything still goes, how it should, the Super Bowl's coming to Tampa. Brady's here. You got the GOAT quarterback. I think the GOAT tight end, you know what I'm saying? And it's special, man. We'll see. I mean, obviously, there's not too many GOATs that are injury prone, but I think Gronk is the exception to the rule. He's the first injury prone player that is the GOAT at his position. And he's only 30. He's only 30, bro. So I know everybody's like, yo, he retired, yada, yada. I know his 30-year-old body, though. Come on, he's younger than us, bro. He's younger than us. I know his 30-year-old body, though, may have more mileage on it than a regular 30-year-old body. But at the end of the day, he's still only 30 years old, and he's going to come back playing with his, one of his best friends. And I'm excited, man.
Wow. So I'm just happened to click an article Brady's Buccaneer merchandise sales in Tampa Bay. The first 24 hours after the jerseys were revealed, merchandise sales rose 3,000%.
That's crazy.
And they sold more gear on Tuesday than the 17 days before the jersey release. That's pretty crazy.
So let me ask you this: Is this one of your classic situation where Brady walks up to Godwin and he says, "Hey man, my name's Tom Brady. I like your jersey and everything." Or is that a conversation that the organization calls Godwin and says, "Hey, so check this out."
So Godwin gave it up willingly. Like he was like, "Yo,
listen,
go.
More power to you, Godwin. But listen, you wide receivers are a flash in the pan, all right? I need a 500,000.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So I've said this before, man, but I feel to kind of make the Michael Jordan comparison, the Michael Jordan parallel, I feel that we're about to experience Jordan with the Wizards moment. Like Brady is what, 43? Gonna be 44, I think, during the season. Like you can't stay on top forever. Father Time is undefeated. He looked washed last year. I know a lot's been made of, well, he didn't have the weapons, the pocket wasn't there, yada yada yada. First of all, Tampa Bay's offensive line isn't that much better. And I don't care how much avocado ice cream you eat, bro. Like at a certain point, your bones, your muscles, I don't care how much plyometric exercising you do and how many resistance bands you work out with, at a certain point, 44 becomes 44.
What I'm gathering is people are saying, well, look who he's playing. You know, like the Falcons are down, the Panthers are down. Isn't that you know what though? He's spent 20 years playing the Dolphins and the Jets and the Bills. Yeah. Like, just because the Falcons and Panthers, they're still not the Dolphins and the Jets and the Bills. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's not like he's coming from, you know, some perennial, you know, the NFC North or whatever the, you know, yeah. So that's kind of, but it has to be exciting. You know, I know Loso, y'all got season tickets, right?
Season tickets, bro. $800 for both of us.
Hey, that's fire. That's fire. That's a great deal.
Yes.
Great deal.
And he could probably sell the first game for, you know, and make half of that back just for that. You could probably just run that first game, get your 400, and then watch the rest of them for 400. So
that's a fact. Yeah.
Banking background coming in handy right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not on the train. You know what I mean? Like I think Godwin. I think Godwin benefits. I'm not sure that Mike Evans really benefits heavily from Tom Brady's acquisition. Mike Evans to me is a down the field, you know, high point kind of guy, you know, and I think you're going to see more, you know, Godwin catching a lot of these quick 2-step, 3-step drop, you know, type passes or whatever from Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is I think Brady's going to come out and feel like he's got to prove something too. Because I mean, obviously these guys, he's hearing the whispers that he's washed, that the offense stunk last year. You know, there's lots of talk. Obviously the hot talking point was Bruce Arians loves deep drop backs, loves to throw the ball deep. That hasn't been Brady's forte. So I am interested to see, now they got Gronk. They didn't get rid of O.J. Howard. Maybe he gets traded during the draft this weekend.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it, bro. Are there any tight ends in the draft?
There's somebody from Iowa or Notre Dame.
Yeah, Cole Kmet from Notre Dame is considered one of the big prospects. I think there is a tight end from Iowa that is kind of being looked at. There's a guy from Washington whose names, like, these names are not popping off the top of my head, but I know.
But nobody that you're, as a team, you're like, yo, we got to go ahead and grab. Like, if OJ, like, what I'm trying to say is that if the Bucs want to make a move on draft day for OJ, there's going to be teams who are going to run for him.
Yeah, I think there might be takers for OJ, even Cameron Brate. Like,
I mean, you're talking takers, but I don't think anybody's giving up anything higher than a third or fourth round pick for O.J. Howard.
Yeah, it's gonna be a third day. It'll be a third day pick. So you're talking somewhere between 3 and 5.
Yeah,
for OJ. So yeah, I definitely think there'll be takers for him if they want to move either one of them. Like I said, I'm looking at their schedule right now. I mean, obviously, they got the NFC South, so Atlanta, Carolina, Detroit. I'm not Detroit.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Sorry, I'm looking at Detroit on the schedule.
Yeah.
But they play Detroit, Chicago, Denver, Giants, Vegas, Chiefs.
So they play our division and they play the Packers division. So basically,
I mean, that's not going to be an easy schedule.
That's not.
And they got the Rams too. I think the Rams, and they got somebody else. So it was a tough.
So yeah, that's my thing. I know a lot of people are saying, yo, you know what? Last year they went 7-9. Winston threw 30 interceptions. 7 of those losses were literally lost by 7 points or less. So I mean, I know that they're trying to like correlate that with next year, but the only thing is like, bro, you got Mahomes coming to town. You got Rodgers coming to town. Those are your home games. Those are your home games that you need to go ahead and have shootouts to win. And it's not Winston throwing 40 times, obviously, and obviously I'm pretty sure Brady's going to be a little more accurate, but it is a tougher schedule. I do think that they are going to be better, though. I do think that the Bucs make the playoffs, and they might win their division, too. And that's not me even trying to jump on the bandwagon. I'm just assessing
Wait, what?
the situation. I think they win their division.
Oh, so something happened and the Saints are not playing in the same division as them anymore?
They are, bro, but my thing is like, all right, so the Saints won what? 11 games last year?
13. Either 12 or 13.
Yeah, they won 13 with obviously everybody else in their division being bad.
With an injured Alvin Kamara all year.
And they missed Breeze for 5 games.
Listen, you can't tell nothing to me, bro. I watched Kirk Cousins outplay Drew Brees in the playoffs, and we beat them 2 times in 3 years in the playoffs. All I'm saying is that you bring Brady.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
All right, got you. We did it twice in 3 years.
You like that?
And so my only thing is like Brady going there, you can't just say, yo, nothing's going to go ahead and change the fact that you put a 43, 44-year-old Brady in place of obviously a young Winston, but bro, he's been the kryptonite for them. He's literally been, even when their defense stepped it up, I mean, he's turning the ball over several times in a game. And so I have to look at it. I have to think, yo, they're going to win about 9-10 games at least, right? This is just what I'm giving them. And if that's the case, I mean, the Saints aren't going to be as dominant in their division as they were last year.
All right. So check this out. There's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, right? And then there's Sean Payton and Drew Brees, right? Like
you gotta widen that gap. You gotta widen that gap.
Maybe here. And it's only because of the rings, right?
They have 1 Super Bowl appearance, don't they?
Yeah. They have a ring. They have a ring. They beat Peyton.
And they've missed the playoffs in their prime.
This is true.
In the NFC South. Like my only thing is like don't get me wrong, Ward. I'm a Drew Brees fan, but I just don't put Drew Brees and Sean Payton up there because they've missed the playoffs in their prime. They've only had 1 Super Bowl appearance. Like I just think like they've been together for so long and they're great. But I mean,
okay,
all I'm saying is widen that gap a lot more.
Okay, I'm listening to you, right? At the same time, though, they've also played in a conference where all 3 of their teams that they've played in the conference with have had Super Bowl appearances in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
So Atlanta's been to a Super Bowl.
Except for Tampa.
Carolina, well, I guess Tampa's for 18 years, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, making the playoffs. If Tom Brady doesn't play with the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets, I highly doubt he wins the division every year, and I highly doubt that they are as dominant as they are every year. You know what I mean? But that's also, I'm not gonna sit here and play the if, ands, or buts game. But what I'm saying is, you have a team that has been on a roll. They have arguably the best wide receiver in football, right?
I agree.
They don't even throw it to anybody else. Now they picked up Emmanuel Sanders. Now they have a healthy running back. Now, they have one of the better defenses in the league, right? I think they've lost a couple guys off of that defense or whatever. These guys are like 11, 12 wins is disappointing to the Saints, even this year. You know what I mean? And the Saints are also playing, I'm assuming, the same type conferences as, that's how it works, right? The Saints are going to end up playing.
Yeah.
The Saints can score with everybody in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can. And they play on turf in the Superdome, you know what I mean? So, like, there's I would argue that it's at least a 3-game gap from the Saints to the Buccaneers.
Interesting.
And now you're saying that because of the uncertainty of Brady and Gronk, or are you saying that just based off the overall roster?
Okay, so check this out. So I don't think the Buccaneers necessarily got a lot better.
Ooh.
The Buccaneers got a lot.
Wow.
The Buccaneers got a lot like funner to watch.
What? Yeah. I got to stop you right there. So I disagree that they got a lot better in the fact that I think it was Loso who said they lost a bunch of games by at least one touchdown.
7 games. 7 games by one
touchdown.
touchdown.
All those interceptions. If Jameis first of all, if Jameis protects the ball a little bit better, they probably make the playoffs this year.
Okay. Yeah.
I think if you put Brady in there, I don't see Brady throwing for 5,000 yards.
Listen.
But I think Brady's going to put them in the playoffs.
Listen, this is not when Peyton Manning went to the Broncos. This is not, this is a Brady who has steadily been doing this.
I agree.
This is Gronkowski who hasn't played in years and gets injured on field goal formation.
Only been out for 1 year. He just out
the year before he missed how many? I mean, when's the last time he completed a full season?
This is true.
He's 30.
He got hurt in field goal formation.
I mean, you get that.
He's the GOAT.
It's still football. Just because it's field goal formation, it's still football.
What I'm saying we're talking about, we're not talking. So that's what I'm saying is with offensive line issues, yes, decision-making got a lot better or whatever. Mobility did not get a lot better.
This is true.
Okay. And with an offensive line issue and with absolutely no running game, which we can get to that in the draft talk, because I firmly believe they're going to have to pick up Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, or J.K. Dobbins in the second round. They're going to have to get an early second round pick. They're going to have to get one of those guys. But he doesn't have a Kevin Falk or a James White or he doesn't have some. It's just not, to me, they did not get that much better, and I think that's what you're going to see.
So my thing is, Ward, all right, cool. Let's say you feel like they didn't get that much better, but I know you were talking about Brady's decline. Could it be that now that he has these weapons that he's going to be a better quarterback, right? Like my thing is he doesn't only have Julian Edelman now, right? Like he has the best. I mean, we could argue they have the best wide receiver tandem, right? So we have the best wide receiver, maybe, right? I mean, Mike Evans
top
and Godwin,
five.
right?
I'll give you top 5. Yeah.
So you got Evans and Godwin there. Obviously, you got Gronk. I know you're saying that Gronk is injury prone. He hasn't played. All right, cool. In the red zone, you're still going to be panicking if you see Gronk out there, right? Like
listen, Antonio Gates could roll out there tomorrow, and I'm panicking if he's in the red zone. All right.
These are red zone. These are red zone guys that obviously know what they're doing. I know you're saying that they have no running back. Ronald Johnson, I don't think that he's that. I mean, he's a great little pass catching back, and if they get him going, they get him going. My only thing is I think
he's watching this right now because he's a fan of us, right? And he just heard you say he's a great little pass catching back, and he literally feels like
wait, does he know us?
No, I'm just saying.
I'm about to say, hey Ronald, I don't battle rap.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is you had to explain him in such a soft manner for us to feel like he might actually get a first down.
Yeah, but Ward, do you at least agree though that if you don't believe that the Bucs as a whole got better, is Brady's play going to be significantly better than what he did last year because of the weapons? I can't
say that for certain. So I'll tell you this much. Personally, if Gronkowski had came back to the Patriots, I think Brady's play could have gotten better. Because one, I don't know, coach wise how that lines up, system wise how that lines up. I don't know. Everybody. We're talking about the Patriots, right? Who were guaranteed to lose once a year to the Dolphins in Miami. Like, you know what I mean? Why? Because warm weather, you know, like now you're playing everybody in warm weather. You don't have this advantage to you at the end of the year, you know, in Foxborough. You don't, you know, I think if the offensive line can improve, having Mike Evans on your team, he's going to be better. Mike Evans is better than anybody that the wide receivers of the Patriots in the last 10 years, probably, since Randy Moss. I don't think there's been a wide receiver better than Mike Evans or Chris Godwin since probably Randy Moss on the Patriots. No. But I also don't remember seeing a lot of passes that Brady threw last year to wide receivers on the Patriots that I would like, you know what, Mike Evans would have caught that or Godwin would have caught that. I'm just saying that off the fly, but I don't know that it was tons of drops. I think what it was that he short-armed a lot. You know, he overthrew a lot. He crumbled after 3 steps and just did the Brett Favre, you know, fall down and let the sack winner. You know, that's just how Brady operates.
Peyton Manning, Brett Favre made it a hot line. Peyton Manning made it a hot zone.
Yeah, facts, yeah. So if you had to ask me, like, I'm excited to watch them play. I think it's exciting. I'll go on. We're recording, right?
Yep.
I think Tom Brady throws an interception before he throws a touchdown. First game of the year, you know? Like, I think what A1
and this
said,
is Ward not even knowing who they're playing, bro.
What A1
said,
what A1 said, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's always acted like that. He comes in. He's going to try too hard. He's going to try to do too much. He immediately becomes player coach. He's like the LeBron James now of, like, you know, of like the Buccaneers. Like, who is the Buccaneers coach? It's
Bruce Arians.
Yeah, Arians. Yeah, I knew who it was, but I couldn't remember his name. You know, yeah. I mean, for the most part, you know, I think 9-7 is a generous season.
All right, so Loso has them in the playoffs. He's got to win in the division. I have them as a wild card. You have them.
I have them 8-8, 9-7. I don't know if that guarantees a wild card or not.
So you have them as a fringe playoff team.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up with the same record as they had last year,
which I think was 7-9.
Yeah. 7-9.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, so A-War started this off about hot takes that made you scratch your head, make you look crazy, and look how the tables have turned.
All I'm saying is Peyton Manning went to the Broncos, right? In his first year, in his first game, okay, he threw 7 touchdown passes, and then he threw 55 touchdowns that year, right?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the probability of Tom Brady doing that this year? This is not the same.
Yeah, it's not fair. I mean, he's much older.
Yeah, he's much older, bro.
And that's why when you say it's like Jordan with the Wizards, I'm kind of like, yeah, you know. And people are looking at this like it's Kobe with Smush Parker. No, it's not Kobe with Smush Parker. You know what I mean? Like it's not. He's not going to get you to the 8 seed. We're all going to be like, look, and you know, I just don't see it happening.
I just don't. Yeah, but my thing is like, so Brady made it to what? I mean, obviously he had a bye week, right? He had a bye week last year, right?
Brady, yes. No, he did not. Brady had to play in the playoffs. They had to play wild card weekend. They lost to Miami and that vaulted Kansas City into the 2nd seed.
So Brady lost first round to the Titans,
round. Or they lost to the Titans in the first round.
I thought that was a second round. But all right, cool. So cool. He makes it to they win the division. They make it to the playoffs, and they lose to the Tennessee Titans, right? Who obviously was a really, really good team. My only thing is like them going to now I do think that the schedule is tougher, but this concept that Brady's gonna go in there and try to, you know, win games with all this. I mean, he's one of the we credit him for being a smart quarterback. Like, never in his career have we ever said, yo, he's just like, he's not Brett Favre on the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though they made it to the NFC Championship, but my thing is like, he's not just in there trying to gunsling. And I think when he's proven something, it's just like, you got to think about it. Even if he goes in there and starts game managing quote unquote, and they make the playoffs and they do it, like the credit is going to be, Brady made the team better.
Of course.
Brady made the team better, right? Because they obviously did things now that they were not doing last year. The Bucs haven't made the playoffs since Winston joined the league. I mean, even before Winston, but Winston was there for 5 years, didn't get a playoff, and his counterpart Marcus Mariota were making it multiple times. So my thing is, like, if Brady jumps in here and he makes the playoffs and stuff, that's the chip on his shoulder. That's what he wants to do. Now, granted, he wants to win a Super Bowl. He wants to be the first quarterback ever to go ahead and play a Super Bowl in their, in the team's hometown. Like, I think those things are goals that he wants to go and check off because that would just solidify him.
Right.
Like put it this way: if Brady wins the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Bucs, he's the greatest American athlete of all time.
Stop. First of all, Jackie Robinson is the greatest American athlete of all time.
No. I'm not talking about revered. I'm talking about in the sense of what they've accomplished. I think he's the greatest American athlete.
That's still Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. Before we go there, so we're still in the are we so forgive me, I should know this. Playoffs is still 6 teams or is it 7?
Still 6 teams. It goes to the extra team, I believe, in 2020. No, I lied. That's this year. That happened this year. Yeah. 17th game, it's 17-game schedule. That takes place in 2021 or 2022.
Okay. You're lucky. All right. Because if we were to sit here, because in my opinion, it's a 10% chance that the Buccaneers win the division. If I was I would say 90-10, right? If we were to sit here and say Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, Vikings, Packers.
Rams.
I think the Rams are probably better off to get a wild card.
Under the format, they would have made it last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under
this new format.
We're looking at Saints. Then we're looking at
you say Seattle?
I said Seattle, San Francisco. Then we got Dallas. We got Philly. That's probably. I'm sitting here naming guys that you're gonna have to say the Buccaneers are gonna have to beat out, for these wild card spots.
The NFC East, they're getting one team, obviously, and that's because of by default. And they were terrible last year. The NFC North, they're gonna get 2 teams, right? You're gonna have Green Bay and Minnesota in there, of course. The NFC South, I mean, hey, you may get 2 teams in there.
No.
And then the NFC. All right. Well,
maybe.
Right? Maybe 2 teams.
Maybe.
The NFC West. I mean, we don't like my thing is like, yeah, Russell Wilson is gonna go ahead and put that in there. I mean, granted, A1, you'll be able to speak on the 49ers more than I don't. We don't know. I don't know what last season was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I was really high on them. I know every time I spoke to you, you were like, I'm just not sold on them.
No, let's be consistent. I trust everything, everything but Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. So, if they're a shoe-in, like if you guys just want to put in a shoe-in, like my thing is like,
well, I think we can agree that
2,
the Vikings,
4, 6, 7.
Right. Well, so that's why I said you're lucky we're getting to 7 because I think we can agree Vikings, Packers, and Seahawks, 49ers is 4, and then if they don't win the division, then you got the Saints and the Eagles or Cowboys.
Yeah.
So there's no making. I don't see them making the playoffs over a Seahawks, 49ers, or a Packers or a Vikings.
Maybe we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like at the end of the day, like all those, for me to not like. I'm not gonna sit up here and say that the Vikings are gonna go. Like we won 10 games last year, I think. So I don't know if necessarily that the Bucs might be a better team. You know what I'm saying? The Bucs might be a better team. Then I still think like even the Saints, bro, like, things like that, bro. Drew Brees is on the brink of retiring, right? He comes back. He says, all right, cool, I'm gonna keep on playing. They lose that playoff game. I think that goes into this situation. To me, Michael Thomas, bro, he's always he's a fireball. Like, there's a lot of variables. Obviously, those are what-ifs and assumptions or whatnot about
There's
the
no variables with the Saints, bro. The Saints are the NFC constant.
You can't say that though. They've constantly lost in the first round.
No, when they were
highly favorites.
But winning
perennial playoff team. I think you can say that's the same
playoff team. I'm not talking about winning the Super Bowl. I'm talking about they're going to win their division. If there's one team, you look at the 4 divisions in NFC and say, who's guaranteed to win their division? It's Saints, and then we'll go 49ers.
As much as it hurts me, right? It's almost like I would probably give the Packers like a year in, year out higher probability than the New. Like I said, the Saints.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that because you got to think like the Bears have been they've been inconsistent. Lions are inconsistently bad, or they're inconsistent. They're not inconsistent.
I'm talking about recently. The Packers are not. Yeah. The gap between the Packers and the Vikings is not as wide as the gap between the Saints and the next team in their division.
But
that's not true because you've had Carolina, you had the Falcons. Like you've had teams that have been the reason why the Saints haven't made the playoffs or even won the division.
The Saints missed the playoffs. That's all I'm trying to say. Like they've missed the playoffs. So they're not like the NFC North is almost the Aaron Rodgers Invitational. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to he's gonna go in there, win that he's gonna win. He's gonna beat Detroit out. He's gonna beat Chicago out, and then Minnesota and Green Bay they split, and Green Bay ends up having a better record. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so we'll have to pause this conversation because we'll keep going around forever and ever. This is what I do. I'll post a poll up on the website at Brains and Bars on Twitter. Will the Buccaneers make the playoffs? Yes or no? Yeah. Because I think you guys are split. I think Loso, you're sure they're getting in. You got to win in the division. Ward, you're basically saying that it is because of God's grace and the 7th seed that they're going to be able to make the playoffs this year. So we'll put that up. Y'all can make y'all arguments there. Y'all can hit us up on that subject. All right.
And if Minnesota somehow can go ahead and revive that Odell Beckham rumor, bro, we're in there.
They're not getting Odell Beckham, bro. All right, but let's talk draft real quick. Let's go over our teams. Any players that you guys might feel that are going to be good in the league. So we'll start with you, Loso. Vikings team. What do you think the Vikings need, bro? What do you think they need to grab in this first round?
It's either a wide receiver or cornerback. I mean, I was cool with them letting Xavier Rhodes go. I was not cool with seeing Stephon Diggs go. However, though, I mean, it is what it is. He obviously wanted to be somewhere else. But if it was up to if we was in the ideal situation, I would want the best cornerback in the draft, which is obviously C.J. Henderson, Florida Gator, chomp chomp. But he's obviously a top 10 pick, and if somehow he falls to the 20s, then all right, cool, we're back in this. So we need a cornerback. Obviously I know it's deep with the wide receiver. We have a lot of. I want to say the Vikings have 7 picks in this draft. I don't know. I want to say that they had 7. I know the Bills kind of were graciously. I mean, we got that first round pick because of Buffalo. The reason why we're even picking up there is obviously because of Buffalo.
Yeah, but you guys had pick 22 and 25.
Yeah, so so it's gonna be wide receiver, cornerback. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the cornerback that's probably gonna be available. What they're saying is old boy from Clemson, AJ
Terrell.
And so we're gonna see. And then the wide receiver, I mean, it's so deep, so we'll see who falls to us. But I just got a notification though. Literally, it just came up. And it says Vikings entertaining trade offers. GM Rick Spielman says teams could be open making moves with 2 first-round picks. So everything I'm saying right now, that literally just came up while we're talking about it. So they're willing to go ahead and deal their 2 first-round picks for something out there, and we'll see what that is.
All right.
So I do think the C.J. Henderson actually could fall to you that late in the draft.
Really?
There's one reason why, and it's not because I think C.J. Henderson is not as good. I think teams are going to trade up to try to get these wide receivers. I think that teams think these wide receivers are the real deal, And I think there's a few different guys that I think teams are they have their guy or whatever, Now to correct you, Ohio State's defensive back is clearly the best defensive back in the draft. However. The kid from Florida, he's good too. So he should. I think the Vikings chill where they're at and just pick up what's the name from LSU if he's there.
Justin Jefferson.
I think he's gonna be the best wide receiver out of this draft.
Man, I'm a big CeeDee Lamb guy. When I watch CeeDee Lamb, I get DeAndre Hopkins vibes.
Yeah.
I get DeAndre Hopkins vibes. So I think he's going to be one of the best. But you're right. This class is really deep.
It's
I'm a
crazy.
Notre Dame guy, so I'm really high on Chase Claypool. He had a really, granted, he's not Megatron, right? But his combine numbers compare favorably to what Megatron did at the combine. So you're right, it's a really deep class, man. Ward, I get it. You live in Kansas City, Chiefs supporter, fan?
Yeah, Chiefs follower, Chiefs supporter, Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, I root for the Chiefs. If I have to pick one favorite NFL team, the Chiefs are my favorite NFL team.
So if you are in the GM seat, what are you doing 32nd pick?
Trading down. I'm saving money, bro. They got like 4 picks in this draft or something like that. 4 or 5 total picks in this draft. Yeah. I don't want to draft anybody that I'm going to have to probably pay in 3 or 4 years. Like, personally, if I could keep these guys intact, outside of that, I'm going offensive line. I think they're gonna have
before running back.
Huh?
Before running back.
Yeah. I think they'll go offensive line. I don't think that. I don't think running back is like the Chiefs are not. I'm not sitting there saying like that they have to. They obviously don't have to have a good running back. Like they just won a Super Bowl with, a
Damian Williams.
He was clutch, though. He was clutch.
Yeah.
He was real clutch.
So yeah, I think they'll go offensive line. I haven't really looked at the needs chart, but for some reason, like there's linebackers. I feel like that they have some
linebackers, corner. I mean, I think if you were to slot their highest needs, running back might be 3rd or 4th. I think you're going to look at linebacker number 1. They don't have a linebacker who can cover. So that's a big thing. I don't think they have aggressive linebackers either. I think that's another issue. I think corner because they re-signed Rashad Breeland.
Yeah.
I think right now Fenton, Breeland, and Shavarius Ward are the only starting cornerbacks on their roster. So those 2 guys. So I think cornerback and I think O-line, just for depth, I think a center. So Cesar Ruiz is kind of like the guy from the center from Michigan, this guy I've seen slotted as going in the first round or late first round, early day 2. So that might be a guy to look at to try to shore that position up because Stefan Wisniewski left in free agency, and I forget who their starter was at that position. But interior line, guard, center would be something I would look at for them.
I'm trying to look up what picks they have.
Go get Diggs' little brother if y'all need a corner then.
Trevin. I saw some. I won't get into it, but I saw some interesting intel about him, about his ability to anticipate. He's very aggressive, but they said his anticipation is not good.
The running backs seem there's not going to be a first round running back pick. I don't think.
In mock, I doubt it. I think in mocks, DeAndre Swift is the one I've seen going to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Wait, they got Swift over Jonathan Taylor?
So
I've seen several mocks. Several mocks where Swift goes. I've seen mocks where Swift and Jonathan Taylor go in the first round.
Yeah. Chiefs' second pick is the end of the second round. I don't know. I think maybe they might be able to go ahead and trade that 32, trade down, and they might be able to get one of those 3 guys, Dobbins, Swift, or Taylor, like mid second round or something like that. And I think that could be something that they probably could do. But I mean, the whole team's pretty much intact, right? Like I think that they're kind of on we're back. You know what I mean?
Right. Of the starters last year, the only 2 that left in free agency were Kyle Fuller and Wisniewski. So 20 of their 22 starters from the Super Bowl team will be back next year. So they're almost literally running.
Yeah, that's crazy.
By the way, running back that is rising up the draft boards, a guy who became a personal favorite of mine during their run last year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU, rising up draft boards. Buzz about maybe end of the first round, but definitely second round pick. That would be a guy if the Chiefs do trade back.
Yeah,
that's a popular pick.
Yeah. Well, what about you? What about the 49ers? What other than starting quarterback, what are their needs?
They need another corner to start opposite Sherman. So they have the 13th and the 31st pick. They traded away DeForest Buckner to the Colts to get that first-round pick. I think interior line, they're pretty good. I think linebacking core, they're good on. I think they need a corner. So I would definitely, I've seen an executive say that the people doing mock drafts have never been more wrong. So if Okudah falls, if C.J. Henderson falls, if he's there at 13, I can see them taking him. And then, seeing if a wide receiver is available. I would love for them to get either CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver. I think that would be super dope to add to their
So they lost Emmanuel Sanders, and then who else did they have?
I mean, they just got a bunch. So I know the GM, John Lynch, talked about a bunch of red shirt guys. So Trent Taylor was on IR last year. Jalen Hurd was on IR last year. Dante Pettis has had playbook and I guess like small discipline issues, but they still believe in his talent. And when he played well, he's been really good. So obviously right now, kind of your number
Deebo Samuel
is going to be Deebo, and then Kendrick Bourne. So I think they believe in those guys, but it would be nice to see them go and get someone, like I said, Jerry Jeudy, Ruggs, Lamb. I'm big on Chase Claypool. He's a guy who's going to be a bully like Deebo. So I mean, like having those two guys opposite each other will be super dope. But yeah, I think corner first, wide receiver second, are the two, and probably tackle third, because oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Left tackle. I can see his face, but there's some talk about whether or not he's going to be coming back. Oh, Joe Staley, whether or not he'll be back for the 2020 season. So those are my thoughts, man. Like on terms of who they need to get, who they need to grab. Like with the quarantine, like I haven't been keeping up crazy heavy with like who's some of the risers, who's some of the sleepers out there that, mid-round guys that can end up being stars. But if y'all been keeping up with it, feel free to hit us up at Brains and Bars on Facebook and Twitter with your thoughts on the draft. Last thing, we're going to get out of here. I'm concerned that we will not have football in 2020, college or pro. College football, I'm not sure how you can have college football if you can't have students in class. Pro football, I don't know how y'all feel about this. I personally am not a fan of football without fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, likewise.
To me, football without fans only serves to help the rich. And by rich, I mean the owners and the players. So like just use it, here locally for us, War. I know you and some of the homies, you guys go to a sports bar, watch games on Sunday. And if you have the Chiefs playing with no fans and you still can't really go out to a restaurant, like it does the city no good. Those concession workers in the stadium, the bar and grills that are dependent upon that income during football season because people are going to show up for 16 Sundays, plus Thursdays, plus Mondays, like it does the economy no good. And so I know the NFL has talked about, and I'll let you chime in. NFL has talked about contingency plans for 14, anywhere from a 10 to a 14 game season, depending on what's happening with this COVID-19 pandemic and whether or not states can, open things up.
I'm sure conveniently teams like the Chiefs and the Packers will be taking off Tom Brady's schedule, and so he'll only have to play, 10 or 12 of the easy games. No, I don't know. Loso lives in Florida. I mean, they opened up the beaches. They're ready to go. I just
Georgia's open altogether.
Yeah, I just heard Tennessee starting April 3rd. People are going back to work. Or not April 3rd, May 3rd or something like April 30th. I don't know that unless this thing starts peaking like crazy again, I think people's attention span, according to it, are kind of shot and just like, all right, cool, we did what we can do. Let's get back to life, So, I don't think it's smart to, but I think that's what we're getting to. People are just they're very impatient,
Especially for the NFL. I almost feel like that's a huge, it's a religion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's famous.
College football is a religion.
It is. But for the country though, I almost feel like they are going to do everything within their power to let this organization get together. Now, granted, LeBron just made a statement not too long ago. He said, "Yo, if the NBA season's canceled, I don't know if I would have closure." Like that's what LeBron said. Like he doesn't know if he'll ever be able to have closure, and rightfully so, right? Like year 17 is a chip on his shoulder. He's #1 seed, like, and you just unplug the game from the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like out of nowhere. But for me, I feel that same way if college football doesn't happen, bro. Because if you look at Florida's schedule, this is our year, bro. Like it's literally it's literally a cakewalk. It's literally a cake, bro. We are literally giving the red carpet into the national championship. And I think that, if you take this year away from me, I do not have closure.
The national champion.
But at the same time, let me say this, man. I mean, think about it, bro. We were the only team that really went touchdown for touchdown with LSU for the majority of the game. Georgia, we literally had the game in our hands. And if you take those two games, bro, we're in the championship. But nevertheless, I will say, man, I think that NFL is going to happen. They're probably going to go ahead and do that little, at least play games with no fans, which is kind of, weird. I don't know how easy that is because at the same time, you're asking players, if it is at risk for people to gather in the stands, you're still asking players to go ahead and gather with each other and then go back home with their family. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is like,
that just makes no sense.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a little if you're gonna go ahead and open it up to everyone. Just be consistent. And if you're gonna close it down, then close it down to everyone. You know what I'm saying? So just to go ahead and ask these professional athletes, hey, come out here, be at risk, and entertain us for the next couple of months. That's kind of like a message that I don't know if people want to go ahead and try to sweep under the rug later on if something does happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. I don't know. And from a college standpoint, I mean, you've already seen the repercussions of no NCAA tournament. Schools are cutting programs already for certain, for smaller schools. Like I don't know if schools will survive. So I'm thinking HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. Like if they can't get students on campus and into classes, like it could be the end of some of these schools' existence.
Wow.
I know there's talk about Texas A&M. A lot of their fortunes are tied to the oil industry because that's where a lot of their boosters make their money. And I mean, if you've been keeping up with the news, like that oil is, I ain't never heard of negative numbers when you talk about oil. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see once we get out of this pandemic, like what programs are still around. Like obviously we root for 3 schools where their pockets run deep. So they'll be able to maintain, but like we literally could be looking at some haves and have-nots for real, once we get out of this pandemic, if we have a shortened season or if we have no season at all. And I mean, like the governor of California said, no large gatherings in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you've already ruled out USC, Stanford, Niners, not Raiders, Niners, Rams, Chargers, no fans in their stadiums in 2020, unless something like drastic happens where it just goes, okay, this thing is pretty much dead because it turns out that it's seasonal, right? And but again, if it's seasonal, once we get into the winter months, it comes back. So I don't know, man. Like this is crazy. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Are you guys in line to watch football with no fans? Do you not care? Let us know what you think about the draft. I am interested to see how this will go because you have a bunch of old men trying to operate technology. And if Teddy Riley and Babyface taught us anything, is that if old people need to have a literacy test before they get an IT literacy test before they get on the internet, because them trying to pin that versus on there was hilarious. They've already said that they had a mock draft for the GMs. There was trouble with getting the #1 overall pick in. There was issues with that. There were 2 teams that were talking about a trade, and they were talking to the entire league
hilarious
about a fake trade. So it's just like, yo, I need a 30 for 30 done on this particular draft, and all like Ward said at the beginning of the show, all the craziness and the stupidity that's going to happen around this draft. It's going to be crazy. One last thing, we'll get out of here. You talked about LeBron. If there is no NBA season, if the season gets canceled, how crazy would it be if we start to see the true decline of LeBron James when he finally comes back to play basketball like 8 months later? And we're talking about this pandemic wiping out his last good chance to win a chip. Like, that would be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when he said that statement, bro, I felt every word. I kind of sympathize, and I'm not like a huge, LeBron James fan, but I am a LeBron James fan, and so, hearing that, and I thought, I mean, granted, I thought the Clippers were just as equally as good, so, you'll have people trying to rewrite history later on when they say, oh, the corona ruined the chance. And I'm like, well, we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? The Clippers already beat them 2 times in the season. And, that's going to be a good series. And we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, but at the same time, yeah, man, if that ends up occurring, I mean, when they do the documentary on LeBron James, that's going to be a huge segment. All of us remembering, like, yo, LeBron at an MVP level. I mean, Giannis is out for the rest of the season. Let's say nothing happens, right? Giannis probably doesn't come back for the rest of the regular season. And LeBron James most likely wins the MVP award. Like, that's taken away. Like, it's just so many different things that it's just kind of unfair. I mean, but at the same time, it's everyone. It wasn't like, the game was only unplugged for him. It was unplugged for everyone. But, I mean, we'll see, man. If the decline does start to happen, which I don't think that – I mean, he was just playing at such a high level, bro, that next year, I think that, even if he does decline, I mean, he's still one of the, top 10 player in the league. So we'll see.
All right. Ward, any closing thoughts before I shut it down?
Yeah. Tom Brady is not top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
Colin ranked him as a top 10 football player in the league.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ranked him number 10.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
But Colin also put Patrick Mahomes at number 4.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, I consider the source.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, man. Like I said, thanks for setting this thing up. And Loso, you're welcome to come on anytime you want. We'll talk. Have some stuff mapped out. Try to do it again next week or the week after. Good luck in your battle this weekend. That's unannounced right now. But appreciate you, A1, and I'm gonna go do some husband duties and watch some Netflix.
All right. So once again, everythingloso.com. IamAward.com. Hit up Charlie Clips TV. Check out the 2-on-2 between them and NWX. Check out the Homie Saga. New record from Dre South featuring Love Nindo. Check out RBE, Sharon versus Love Nindo, or Street Hymns. SoundCloud.com/Brains and Bars, or Brains and Bars for all the content, or hit us up on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor. Search #Brains and Bars. You'll find all the information there. Lastly, Twitter, Facebook @Brains and Bars, man. Lastly, one last thing, actually. Shout out to the homie B, Puss in Boots Gaming, the S's are Fives, new video, What the Antique Kind of Is This? Song of Horror Episode 2. Check him out, support him. And until next time, we holler at y'all. Till then, it's been a black
and white
and Hispanic
thing, man. I'll holler at y'all. Appreciate everybody.
All right.
All right, y'all. I got to bounce.